As it's 7 o'clock, let's kick off and start our meeting. Do we have any? Oh yeah, well, first welcome John Bracer to your first pensions meeting, and thank you to Jamie and Nick for being here, and Caroline. Do we have any apologies? Okay. Oh, okay. All right, thank you. And are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Yeah, will you give us apologies? All right. Has everyone read the minutes and the previous minutes, and are they correct? Okay, I take it as read. And so we've got the next item is the Merton Pension Fund audit plan. So over to Liz Jackson from Ernst & Young.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for letting me attend via Zoom link. That's very much appreciated. So this is our, I'm the engagement partner for both the Merton Council and the Merton Pension Fund, to kind of just put it in clarity for those I haven't met for you before, as it's my first kind of attendance at the Pensions Committee tonight. And really this is just to set out our audit plan for our work for the 21-22 accounts. We've already done some planning work, and actually we've started very recently on your accounts as well, so we've actually kind of knee deep in the audit work as we stand. And this is really just to take you through, probably at the headline level, of just the risks that we've identified so far for your 21-22 accounts. And you'll see kind of on the first pages of the first tables around there are 4 risks and areas of focus that we've got. One of them is around misstatements due to fraud and error around the posting of investment journals, and that's the significant fraud risk that we've got in all pension funds, regardless of kind of the size or the nature. But it's just the risk that is always there, that officers may manipulate, and therefore you might have misstatements in your accounts through the use of journals. And then the next one to focus on is the valuation of level 3 investments. For Merton, that's always been, we've classified those as your level 2 investments. But this year, I actually took the decision, kind of with what's going on, the volatility in the market, and kind of just some of the all pervasive situation that's going on around the world as we currently stand, that actually I've raised that risk from what was inherent last year to be a significant risk this year. They're obviously highly material figures in your financial statements, and actually we just wanted to ensure that we had the correct focus and the correct level of work was being done on those particularly risky investments that you hold. We'll be auditing them in obviously great detail, and part of the level 3 is that we actually wait for kind of final versions of accounts or final information to come through. But as your timeline is longer than kind of the pension fund audit, the council audit is running through to early November. That means that we'll have all that final financial information. We can amend the accounts as needed before I issue my audit reports towards the end of November. And then the other risk is around your IAS 26, your actuarial present value of promised retirement benefits. And that again is just a risk around IAS 26 and is just a disclosure note that is in your accounts. But again, it is a risk in all pension funds. And then obviously going concern, although for the pension fund, we don't really have any concerns around going concern for the pension fund in particular, but it is just in the public sector. We've decided that all audits need at least an area of focus, just to say that we will obviously look at your going concern disclosure and just test some of that. It's not that I have particular concerns around your pension fund, because I don't, but that was just really to put it in clarity for any of you who are new and looking at it for the first time. And that was always I was going to kind of talk about from my audit plan as it stands, and really just to say whether there are any questions.
All right, does anybody have any questions on Liz Jackson said? Yeah, in that case, do we are you going through the rest of it, or the audit strategy, or
I can do if you like. I was going to take it as read, but if you'd like me to take you through in detail.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, thank you very much, Liz, for your report. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, everyone's happy with it, so we'll move on, and thank you for coming and giving us your talk on it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much and have a good evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And now we have the quarterly performance review, and Roger will be taking us through that. Oops.
Thank you, Chair. Well, this is obviously a report that we have in part one, and members will note that we go into detail in part two of the committees, but I'll just give you the broad headlines of the fund performance for the last quarter, which is quarter four, and probably for the first time in this pension fund, I'm reporting a decrease in value of some 40 million over the quarter. Perfectly understandable because of all the turbulence that occurred as a result of the Russia-Ukraine war and how the markets are continuing to react to it. So just to give you an outline of the overall performance, so over the 3 months to the 31st of March 2022, total fund assets returned a negative return of 4.2% compared to our benchmark of minus 1.1%. So the funds have sort of performed slightly worse than what our benchmark would be. Equates to an underperformance of some 3.1%. But over the last 12 months, the fund's performance remains positive. It was a positive of 4.5%, with a 3-year annualized performance of 9.2%, which is still a fairly positive return against the actuarial performance target of 4.8%. Members will also note that we decided to make a rebalancing around our equity during quarter four. We had benefited from being overweight in equities. Remember, we're overweight in equities while we're waiting for a number of funds managers to draw down their funds around infrastructure and private debt, etc. It wasn't a particularly a comfortable position, but we did gain quite significantly from being overweight in equities during that period. And it's pleasing to know, we'd like to say it was deliberate, but it was probably a good fortune that we moved quite a significant number of amount of our assets, some 135 million, out of equity just before the fall in the markets as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And during that time, or shortly after that time, equities fell by some 6 or 7%, and where we put them in diversified growth funds sort of remained fairly neutral. So we probably saved a loss, or potential loss, of some 8 to 10 million by that piece of good fortune. So I suppose there's a silver lining from that point of view. But the markets remain somewhat volatile, and obviously there are fears of recession with high inflation, etc. So we are in for a fairly turbulent position, particularly with regards to our equity positions. I think that's all I need to do for the summary part, Chair, and we'll go into more detail when we get into part two. But happy to take any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? Thank you, Roger, for that. And so we close the public meeting and move on to the private session.
Do you want to carry the resolution, Chair?
Oh, so we resolve that the public are excluded from the meeting during consideration of the following report on the grounds that it is that they are exempt from disclosure for the reasons stated in the reports. Okay. Oh.